An Asian American sports announcer called Robert Lee is the latest victim of the Civil War's 150-year legacy. Should ESPN face consequences for punishing him because of his name? John C. Yang is president of Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAAJ, and he joins us in studio. Mr. Yang, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you, Tucker.
So this guy was punished for his name.
Well, this guy was not allowed to broadcast the UVA William and Mary game. That's correct. From my understanding, he's doing the Pitt Youngstown State game instead. That's right.
Well, that sounds like punishment to me. If I said, well, you don't get to do your job, but I've got another job for you, and I'm going to tell you what it is. It's not what you want to do or what we plan for you to do, but because of your name, we're going to make you do it. That's not punishment?
Well, I don't know if that would be considered punishment. I think part of it depends. Look, if you ended up getting a different assignment that is lesser, then perhaps you could call it punishment. That part I don't know, but certainly in the context of the types of games that the two games that were being offered, it seems pretty equivalent. So I don't know if I would want to...
I mean, he was set to do this one game, and he's not allowed to because of his name. Is that a valid reason to punish someone? Well, I think... I don't like your name? Look, it sounds like somebody else's name?
Look, at the end of the day, certainly it's unfortunate that he did not get to do this game. There's many things that ESPN could have... What do you think of the
reason, though, behind it? I mean, the reason was you did bad things at Chancellorsville and Antietam, or whatever. Oh, sorry, the other Robert E. Lee did that. I mean, that's not ludicrous, or is that an okay precedent?
Well, that's an unfortunate incident. There's no question about that. And certainly ESPN could have handled that much better. You know, understanding it, I think it was a sensitive decision for them because of the fact that what happened at Charlottesville certainly was very tragic and 2 weeks ago. So in that context, I'm sure that there were a lot of things that they were thinking about. Certainly, as an Asian American organization, we thought it was unfortunate because we're trying to get more Asian Americans both in front of the screen, behind the screen, and it seems like this guy did lose an opportunity to broadcast a name based on his name.
It's so funny, though. Unfortunate. I'm thinking more like appalling, indefensible, craven, disgusting, reprehensible, possibly illegal. Those aren't words that come to mind?
Well, no, I guess they don't. Because, look, at the end of the day, I mean, we aren't in a post-racial society. So I do think that there are times that there are considerations. Like I said, certainly whether this decision that was made...
So Asians should be punished once in a while just because we're not in a... Because Robert E. Lee was this general that people now hate. I mean, like, what does that mean?
I don't think that's what we're talking about.
Okay,
I really don't think that's what we're talking about. Because, again, at the end of the day, look, it's not as if this guy got fired. Look, and we are dealing in a situation that we're in a hypersensitive situation, right, where there was a tragic event in Charlottesville. And so we need to find some way to come together. Whether ESPN in this particular case did the right thing, I agree with you, at least I think where you're going, is that, you know, certainly they could have made a statement at the beginning of the broadcast that said, look, this guy, he's doing his job. He's not related to Robert E. Lee of the Confederacy of 150 years ago. Certainly there would have been things that could have been handled better.
But what if he was? What if he was the grandson of Robert E. Lee or the great-great-grandson? Would that have disqualified him?
I don't know if that would have.
Well, how about this? Let's get to the principle that animates this whole thing and the one that we're losing in American life, which is we only punish people for things they did. We don't believe in collective punishment here. We don't punish you because you look like someone else or sound like someone else or related to someone else, live in the same place as someone else. We treat each person as an individual. And if you didn't do it, you're not getting punished for it. Is that a principle worth upholding, do you think?
We treat each person as individual, but I do think it's important to consider context, consider history. Because certainly that is part of what we're dealing with in this context.
Wasn't that, that was a justification for the internment of the Japanese, though? Wasn't it? I mean, it's just context. It's just context. No, it's just context because look,
no, the internment of the Japanese Americans is very, very different.
Oh, how is it different on principle? I don't really get it because it's context, right? Or maybe if we stick to the principle, you're only punished for things.
There's no evidence that there was any espionage, any sort of activity.
Well, there's no evidence that this guy behaved badly at the Second Battle of Manassas. So, like, do you know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying, but I think we're getting in a different realm here. I mean, we're talking about two different things. If we're talking about this individual, Robert Lee, the sportscaster, and what he should have been doing and what ESPN should have done, certainly, you know, we could have debates about that. But I do think that it's also appropriate to recognize the context that we are living in.
And just to be clear, I'm not obviously, settle down Twitter, comparing what happened to this guy to the internment. I'm merely saying the principle is the same. That people ought to be punished only for things they personally did and not for what people who look like or sound like them did.
Well, and again, I think there's two pieces to that. One is whether or not Robert Lee of ESPN is being punished here, and I guess I am not willing to go so far.
No, he's being rewarded.
Right. But I also think that the second point is that we do have to consider context, and we do have to consider history.
Yeah, I'd rather not. Thanks a lot. Ms. Jane, good to see you.
Thank you.